Coach Micheal Burt, the Super Coach, and man, I got a new book coming out called Flip the Switch, and I told my team I need to get back in the studio and begin reorganizing the podcast and bringing the Flip the Switch podcast back to people as we bring the book out in January of 2023. And so today we're going to talk about flipping the switch around this concept. Why can't that guy or girl produce? So I'm going to break down why people can't produce and how it's directly associated with one of the phases of prey drive. If you're out there and you're watching this and you know someone who is incredibly talented, that would be the body, physical skill. They have talent, but they lack drive. Okay? They have talent, but they're lazy, or they have talent, but they can't see something through to its conclusion. If you've ever said, why can't that person do X? And I was just having this conversation with my wife just the other day about a person that everybody says, we like this person, they're incredibly nice, they got good ethics, but they're missing a structure. They have a missing structure somewhere. Based on my 30 years of coaching, I believe that missing structure lies in the activation and reactivation of the prey drive. The new book, Flip the Switch, goes into the 3 phases of prey drive and the 5 activators of prey drive. So for today's purposes on the podcast, I'm going to show you that I believe some people can activate the prey drive, boom, just like that. It can be activated by exposure. That means I see something and I want to go do it. I am inspired. The word inspire means to breathe life into. I want to go do it. I have a vision to go do it. The prey drive is activated. It's like I get up and I'm ready to go hunt. And you say, well, what's the problem? I lack phases 2 and 3 of the prey drive, which is persistence of the prey drive and intensity of the prey drive. If you've got somebody on your team that you believe has the talent but cannot produce, it could be a skill problem. I mean, they may not have the skill, or it could be, man, they just don't have the persistence and the intensity to continue the pursuit. That's why you hear me say long obedience in the same direction. So when you're thinking about these people that are talented, but they've got a missing gear, they've got a missing component, they've got a missing structure. I'm going to give you the structure. Activation is not the problem. Okay, maybe they're a quick start on the Colby Index. They got a lot of ideas. They got a lot of vision. They're dreamers. So I was saying to my wife last night, what do you think about this person? And here's what she said, because she's really good with people. She said, I read your book, This Ain't No Practice Life, many years ago. And you talk about 5 levels of people, right? And I don't even remember all 5 levels that I talked about because it was 10 or 15 years ago. She said, that person is a dreamer, but not a doer. See, I talk about in that book, at level 5, there's doers and achievers. They not only dream, they do. They back up their dreams with actions. And then there's reactors, and then there's floaters, if I remember correctly in the book, This Ain't No Practice Life. And then there's like dreamers, and then there's doers. And she said, man, that person is a dreamer, but not a doer. And I said, man, prey drive's activated, but there's no persistence and there's no intensity. So let's talk about those 2 things today. Because I'm sure if you're watching this, maybe your wife, maybe your husband, maybe your kids, maybe somebody in your life is that dreamer but not that doer. They got visions. Now listen, I have visions that I haven't manifested. But I manifest a lot more visions, like a greatness factory, like Success School, like buying this lodge, like whatever I set my mind to. I dream it, and then I have the persistence to do it. And that's the part people don't want to do. That's the embracing the suck. That's sucking the sour to get to the sweet. That is the ability to do something that is monotonous and boring, to make sales calls, to follow up. So the question becomes, why would a person do that? Many of you that follow me have heard me talk about something called because goals. And a because goal is a big reason that a person does something, listen to what I'm about to tell you, even when they don't feel like it. Okay? If you grew up broke, because you grew up broke, you never want to go back to living there. Because of that, you make sales calls when you don't feel like it. Because somebody changed your life, you want to help other people. Because of this is why I do this. I believe this is tied to persistence. Because I believe in long obedience in the same direction. Because I believe in mastery. Because I believe in that where there's no top line, there's no bottom line in a company. Because I believe there's a power in taking action. Because I believe there's a power in manifesting an idea. Because I believe you got to suck the sour to get to the sweet. Because I believe that I want that feeling of accomplishment when I fight through the short-term feeling of discomfort. See, if you don't have this, you think about it, you dream about it, you talk about it, you want to do it, but when it comes right down to brass tacks, you just don't have that persistence. So what is persistence? Because that is the second part of prey drive, right? The animal persists, right? If you ever seen two animals fight, it's like, man, one is just persisting. I was watching like a tiger carry this alligator out the other day, man. It is just persistent until it had killed it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's brutal. Persistence is the ability to subordinate what I want now for what I want eventually. It's the ability to sacrifice what I want now for what I eventually want. And it's the ability to get up and do something every day that I don't want to do so I can have some result later in life. Ramsey always said, live like nobody else so at some point you can live like nobody else, right? He's talking about saving money, having the discipline to do that. What I'm saying is having the discipline, which is a derivative of the word disciple, which means to give yourself to a person or cause you believe in. We know Jesus had 12 disciples, and he said, leave everything and follow me. Have the discipline to see this through to its conclusion, right? So when I'm looking at this, if you're out there, when it comes to prey drive, I'm looking at, will you see it through to its conclusion? Can I count on you to show up every day with no supervision? Will you follow through? Do you have the hunger and the prey drive to persist? Or at some point you become the boy who cried wolf. It's like, I've heard you talk about it, I've heard you think about it, I've heard you dream about it. How many times are we going to talk about this before you manifest it, right? This is a missing structure. And what it takes is that prey drive to be activated, typically by exposure, competition, fear of loss, environment, embarrassment. Sometimes it's embarrassment. Man, I'm sick of letting people down. I'm sick of not showing up and doing this. So what I look at in people is, hey, why can't that person just get it done, right? It's like, man, I see them get motivated, and then I just see this. So how do we build this muscle? That's really the question, the persistence muscle. And my wife and I were looking at me the other day when I had a big chubby face, right? I was a lot bigger than I am today. And she's like, oh my gosh, look at you in 2018, 2019, whatever the case may be, and look at you today. And what it reminded me of is that all it took was an initial overcoming inertia to get on the nutrition plan to get down 30 pounds. And once I got past that, it's like I've never gone back to that. It's like the initial inertia of just changing my diet and getting in better shape. And I'm like, I've never gone back to that. It's crazy. I don't always eat exactly the way I should, but since I got doing that, right, then I said I'm going to work out and get leaner. And then it's like, all right, hire a trainer, get a program. Then it's like, okay, now I'm starting to show more definition. Why? But it's like the initial inertia step of fighting through that persistence to where it becomes normalcy. It becomes a habit. I show up, I do the work, I get the result, I feel better about myself. And when you start doing that, what happens is you are rewarding the brain, and you're actually going to get these little rewards, these little hits inside the brain. Kotler talks about this in The Art of the Impossible, about how your brain rewards you for these little hits. You're like, man, I want that again. I want to look good. Therefore, I'm ready to go to the gym. I want to do this. Therefore, I'm willing to do this. I don't want to stay skinny. Therefore, go back to Fat Coach Burt. So here's the deal. You persist, and once you build that persistence muscle, it's like I show up when I don't want to. I do what I don't want to do. I get results I don't want to get. And then it's like, oh, I can do this. Now it becomes confidence. So I'm going to close this session with really 4 C's that I learned from Dan Sullivan. You can tell that I've learned from so many coaches in my lifetime, and I've stored that material Because lots of people think you need courage to get started. Like if I'm out there and I'm talking to you and you're the man out there and it's like, man, why can't that dude ever do it? Why can't he ever finish? Why can't this? You think, man, I need a lot of courage to go do this. No, you don't need courage. You need commitment. You commit first to something. That starts building the muscle. Then after the commitment, courage comes. Because of the courage, I go out and Sullivan would say you get a new capability. What he's really saying there is you get a new skill. You learn a new skill. Because you got a new skill, guess what you got? A new confidence. Then it becomes part of just who you are, right? Who you are. So I commit, courage comes, I get a new capacity, new capability, new skill. Because I got a new skill, guess what? I got a new confidence. And once I repeat this cycle over and over, no matter what it is, making calls, building a business, following up, going to the gym, getting on a diet, what happens is that confidence gives you the runway you need to push across the finish line. And over cycles of time, guess what happens? You start building consistency, or let me put it in another word, persistency. I get up and I just fight through my feelings, and I show up. And I fight through my feelings, and I show up. My wife said to me one day, she said, it's almost like you don't even recognize fatigue. Even when you're tired, nobody knows it. You just fight through it. Now, my mother will call me. She'll say, you look tired. You look tired. And my mom always says, and you need to eat something because you're too skinny. But here's what I say. Most people don't know it. My performances don't change when I'm tired versus when I'm refreshed. I'm trying to build a life now that I'm not tired from, right? I'm not tired from life. I'm not tired from my work. I'm rejuvenated. I'm refreshed. I'm on fire, right? And it has to do with scheduling and off days and all those things. But I want you thinking, where do you fall off the wagon as it relates to flip the switch? Is it the activation of the prey drive? Is it the persistence of the prey drive? Or is it the intensity of the prey drive? We'll cover that in a future show, the intensity piece. I go deep into all of this in the book, Flip the Switch, coming out January 2023. We're going to be doing a lot of crazy things to make that book a bestseller. I'm going to need your help, but this is my life's work, activating the prey drive in people. And if you're the guy out there I'm speaking to, why can't he ever do this? All the talent in the world, but lacking the persistence of the prey drive to see it through to its conclusion. I'm Coach Micheal Burt. Flip the Switch Boot Camp is coming in November. Back to back with Monster Growth here at the beautiful 8,000 square foot lodge, one of my favorite places in the world. And the fall is the best time to be here in Tennessee. The weather's beautiful, the leaves are turning, the land is incredible. Come spend a day or 2 days with me here at this lodge, and your prey drive will be activated like you can't imagine. I'm Coach Micheal Burt. Flip the switch. Being a monster is about taking your purpose and distributing it to the world in a very, very high level.
What do you want people to say about your business? What do you want to be known as in 5 years?
And your journey as an entrepreneur is not to achieve this or that. Your journey as an entrepreneur is to become this or that. Because in life, you get who you are.
The more relationships you get, the more money you get. Then the more money you get, the more relationships you get. It just keeps going back and forth. You guys want to surround yourself with high net worth individuals, and you will eventually become one. Why? Because of the relationship.
Today, some of you are going to take some action that is going to propel you into the future so much that you don't recognize the person you look forward to later.
If you don't build your dreams, somebody is going to hire you to build theirs.
How many times have you failed? Fail again. Who cares? Just keep failing. Keep failing. You only have to be right one time.
People are counting on you to show up. They're counting on you to grow up. They're counting on you to deliver. They're counting on you to be the best you can be for you. Because if you ain't the best for you, you ain't going to be the best for anybody else, folks.